phone silent?
I have like 3 missed calls, so I'm actually expecting a call. I know it's going to happen, but...
I picked our next guest up from the station earlier, and I thought to myself, I haven't even told her what car I'm in or anything. She's just like got in a car with a strange guy. I was like, maybe we need to come up with some kind of protocol around how to pick guests up from the station, because I just waved.
Yeah.
I waved. And Nieve, today's guest, just came and got in the car.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't tell your dad that you got in a car and the guy waved at you at a train station.
Number one rule, isn't it?
Are you all right? Put your hat on now.
Very good.
A bit chilly.
It is a bit chilly, so good old January, isn't
we're
it?
all rolling, aren't we? We're
yes,
all good.
we are.
It has been chilly, hasn't it? I mean, if Brits are good at anything in particular, it's always chatting about the weather, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I don't think we actually chat about the weather in here.
I haven't really spoken about the weather.
Nah, let's not. So, we are Another Idea.
Thermos flask.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. Where's that from?
Is
this another affiliate?
Fallow.
Is this another affiliate link that you're going to throw out there?
Fallow could be an amazing...
With your Pomodoro timer.
Yeah, that's it.
Your,
it just keeps it hot, It just keeps it hot.
I would bloody hope so. That's what thermos flask is meant to do, right? We're Another Idea. We're a podcast.
For creatives and entrepreneurs.
We didn't do that very well, did we?
No, you didn't.
That people know.
No, they don't.
People do. Should we start again?
Yes. You would think that we are pros at this. We probably on 45th, 46th.
42. This is.
Oh, yeah. Come on. You should know that by now. But yes, we are Another Idea, podcast for creatives and entrepreneurs
who just want to level up their business. I thought I was going to say the bit that you said.
Yeah. We keep it mixing, but
and we bring guests from all fields, all industries, because we genuinely believe that there's a story to be had and an experience and lessons to be taken from any business or any self-employed entrepreneur.
100%.
And today we've got a first, haven't we?
Yeah, we got a first because we were chatting, and it's the first time we have a graphic designer in the house.
Is it really?
And I mean, it would be so awkward if we've already had a graphic designer.
Yeah,
and
it
we've
would
just
be.
completely ignored who that designer was.
Sorry, whoever it was. No, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have.
No. So I'm super excited. Having studied graphic design, I'm super excited to.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, to have.
I'm the odd one out, am I?
Yes, you are. But no, but then again, you're not really, because you're aesthetic.
You guys are just going to chat and leave me out of it. It's fine.
Your aesthetic
is
to a T, really. So yeah, no, this is going to be really, really good.
Excellent. Right. Should we just do a bit of house admin first?
Yes.
You want people to leave reviews, don't you, Igor?
Yes, I do indeed.
I do as well. It's not just Igor. It's not just his podcast.
But no, first of all, thank you for those that have left reviews on Apple Podcasts. But if you haven't...
Is that Coke Zero for grabs?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab that.
Yes, it is. You can see how we roll here. It's very conversational.
So smooth.
Yeah. But no, if you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts, please do so, because it really, really helps.
We just like to read that shit, don't we?
Yeah, indeed.
It makes us feel good. It makes us realise that people are listening and they do like it.
Yeah, and same goes for YouTube. If you could like it, share it, and even comment. Whew. I know that comment section on YouTube can be very dangerous at times, but yes, please, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but if you say nice stuff for us, I'll come for you.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
That's it. But that said,
here
we are.
Yeah, we are. Episode 42.
Yeah.
I think it's episode 42.
Yes, it is.
Start of May, wasn't it? We launched.
Yeah.
Just reminiscing for a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone quick, hasn't it?
It's gone really, really quick. We're almost in May for this year.
I know we say it every week, but I am genuinely buzzing about this year.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Good stuff. Me and Merla start filming Merla's marketing masterclass next week.
Yeah.
30 videos.
Yeah.
Everything Merla knows. Merla's like the boss.
Yeah, she is our boss, pretty much. But, yeah, we kind of like... You just made me think. We sort of like had a little wiggle turn, really, in terms of like what the plans that we had for the year, really.
We are coming to you in a minute.
And... I think it's just worth commenting, really, that we sort of like had plans for having like a massive event.
Yeah, we did.
For the spring of this year, and then we sort of like maybe autumn this year, and the more we sort of like think about it, Nah.
It's just too soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we've just realised, like, it's still there. We still want to do
Yeah.
the AGM, which is another general meeting. We want to do that, but I think there are other things that need to happen first. So
Yes.
we're just going to put it on the back burner for now. We're gonna pick that one up soon.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come back.
Yeah.
We just need to work on some of the little avenues, don't we?
Yeah. Other projects really, they're very much the priority,
Me
really.
and you have we've kind of part scripted a how to add a podcast to your brand
Yeah.
course.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a introduction to video, so how to add video to your brand.
Yeah.
Hopefully collaborating with someone else around how to improve your photography within your brand.
Yeah.
Just all little tools and things that will help businesses
Level up.
Oh,
That was good.
okay, right then. Nieve WOB.
Wob,
WOB,
yeah.
WOB, WOB, WOB,
Wob,
WOB, WOB, WOB. I'm not making that up. I'm not
No.
just making a random noise. Can we just explain?
Yes.
Nieve, do you want to explain?
Yeah. So
Say hello.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hello. Yeah, WOB it came about in I think it was year 8, year 9, something like that. Picture it, drama class, 2 Nieves in the class. My teacher had to differentiate between us. And it was like Nieve free, something like that. And because my surname is Walton O'Brien, it turned out to be Nieve WOB. And then I guess it just stuck. And for ages, my normal Instagram was, Nieve WOB or something like that for ages and ages. And then, when I launched WOB Agency, I just thought makes sense to
What are the
use
chances
WOB,
of 2
yeah.
Nieves in the same class, first and foremost?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was quite a not common name.
It's a
but
quite unique name.
I mean, Nieve O'Brien. I'm not even Irish in the slightest. So yeah. So I mean, there was quite a few Nieves in our school actually, but all different spellings, all different ones. But yeah, WOB.
But tell us about you really and your sort of like graphic design journey really.
I guess I've always been very creative, always. My family are quite creative. There's 4 of us. My brother, I learned a lot of, creative stuff from. He's very arty-farty. So I've always had that. I've always enjoyed art and music and drama in school. And it's sort of got towards the end of school and I was toying between music and art. And I knew I wanted to do art because I feel like if I didn't do it, I'd really miss out on having that creative outlet, I guess. So at the start of doing A-levels, there was a new course at my 6th form, which was graphic design. So I thought, I'll give it a try. And it was brand new that year. And I'm pretty sure that we didn't use computers at all. If, maybe it was, I don't know, 1 day a week or something like that. It was, I don't remember actually sitting on the computer and using computers for this whole year. I remember designing jam labels, and it wasn't the best course at all, but that was really sort of the spark that got me thinking, it's that artistic thing that I want to do, but not drawing. It's not, I guess, fine art, because I think I struggled to picture myself going down a route of fine art.
Did no one tell you that you can't make money in an art career?
No, well,
So,
do you know
it's
what?
a DOS subject.
Do you know what? I
Total
never.
DOS.
I mean, aside from aside from people in school, I guess it's always typical when you get the arty kids versus maybe this. I mean, I wasn't sporty in the slightest, so it probably maybe come from people like that a little bit. But my family and they've always just been very, very, very supportive. I mean, my brother he's 5 years older than me, and he went to London to do fashion and makeup and prosthetics, and my mum and dad were very just totally
amazing.
all for it. So I guess I'm really lucky in that sense to have such a good support network, and it's always just been very, if it makes you happy and you want to do it, then go for it. Yeah. So
I was joking when I said you can't make money in art. It's just
Look
one of
at
those,
us.
Oh, yeah,
one of
so
those
you can.
bugbears, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
The education system still doesn't kind of encourage people enough
No,
to
not at all,
go
no.
down a creative route or a creative industry when there's so much work in the creative fields.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, good on you. Good on you for going
Thank
for
you.
it.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear as well that family support that can support that as well.
Yeah.
Because you often hear those stories, don't you? Like parents meet you go to university to study law. And
exactly.
I wanted to do law.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, I don't know about you. I'm sure you'll be the same as me with. I was going to say our kids. We've got separate kids, not together.
Our kids.
But I'm going to be like, just go and try what you want to. what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What's your passion? You go for it.
Yeah.
As long as you work hard and, you know, give it your best shot, that's all you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. No, I completely agree. So you started that, and how did it sort of develop?
So I did 1 year of A levels where I did maths, English language, music production I tried, and I did this graphic design course, and I knew after that first year that I didn't want to continue doing that for another year. I failed maths. I think I took it to try and beat my brother because he's very mathsy, so I just felt competitive, so I thought
Can't be a bit of
I did,
sibling,
I know,
sibling rivalry,
terrible
can
idea.
you, to spur you on?
So I think at that point I was like, I know I want to do graphic design or at least learn more about it. So I feel I'm best going to an arts college. And there was a very, very, very good arts college called CCAD. It's now called Northern School of Art, I think, in Middlesbrough. And yeah, left the sixth form and did 2 years at that college and absolutely loved it. Just totally fell in love with it. Learn, you know, as much as I possibly could there about graphic design and branding. And I actually hated branding through college. I really didn't enjoy it at all. I liked poster design and editorial and things like that. And
what was it about branding that you didn't sort of like, considering your work today?
I don't know. I really don't know what it was. I think I just hadn't maybe... I think all the designs that I would do up until that point were things like packaging, where I could see a final product and I could, you know, mock it up, and I loved that idea of, that's what I've always loved about graphic design, is you have the power to actually create and invent something and have it be this real thing, this tangible thing. So I think things like posters and packaging and stuff like that was always what I was drawn to most. And I don't think I explored branding as much, because it's exactly the same with branding. It's a whole construct of everything essentially that becomes a real thing, you know, a business. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it was that I didn't. I do remember a branding project that we got, which was we were given a city and we had to brand the city. So it wasn't a business that we were branding. It was just, yeah, you had to brand the city. And I got Edmonton in Canada.
Where is? Oh, okay, yeah.
So I just remember not enjoying it at all. So I think that just put me off for ages. And again, even leaving there and going to uni, where I moved to Manchester and did 3 years of graphic design there. Again, all the way through, I didn't really do a lot of branding. It sort of was only in the last, I guess, few months of trying to go freelance and, you know, putting out the feelers a little bit, and people would say, oh, can you do my logo, or can you, you know, design me a few logos, or, you know, sort me a colour palette out and that sort of thing. That's sort of when I started to get into it, and yeah, just sort of built off that really. And now I can't think of not doing branding. Now branding is literally my favourite thing to do ever. So yeah, it's funny.
And WOB agency has been going for what, just over a year now?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah, I launched WOB agency officially with my first website in March.
Okay.
I think start of March it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, less than a year, and it's going.
Why were you so keen to go down the self-employed create your own agency route rather than going and getting maybe experience as a junior designer?
So it wasn't.
Designer.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a case of I knew I wanted to be necessarily self-employed. I just, all the way through uni, and I suppose college as well, I knew that I wasn't someone who liked to be told what to do. I'd never liked to be told what to do, especially when it comes to...
Club.
Yeah, it's the creative within, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. Just, especially when it comes to, I mean, other areas of my life, I'm not so sure, but with design especially, it's just, I have my way of doing things. I remember in uni, there'd be a lot of times where my tutors would maybe advise, you know, maybe you should try this route or you should try this, and I'd be like, I see that, but no, thank you, but I'm gonna do it this way, you know. And I mean, they were great tutors. That's probably one thing that I will really sort of rave about Manchester Uni, is just how brilliant the tutors were there. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know that I wanted to necessarily run a business or even be freelance, because I think at the time I was so much in my head about, oh God, starting a business, I have to think about so much more than just the services I'm going to be doing. It's you know, the money side of things, and you know, I just didn't have a clue about running a business. So I think I just knew that I didn't want to go into a junior design role or something where I was like starting really from the like right from the bottom with lots of other designers there, and I'd have to, you know, maybe get the
climb your way,
the small jobs and
we talked about that, didn't we, in Sam's Taxis?
Yeah.
Sam's Taxi Service. We talked about how, you know, as a junior designer, you really are just, you know, you're not really that creative, are you?
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
Kind of, you know, those creative decisions have been made at the top, and you're just having to process that imagery. You know, whereas now you, as a, you know, a self-employed creative agency, you have so much more free reign, don't you, to be able to kind of control your creative output.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there are a lot of, I know there's a lot of really brilliant graphic design agencies in Manchester. Some big ones, some quite small ones where I'm sure it'd be a lot more collaborative and things like that. But yeah, I just really couldn't see myself starting from that place and taking the time to work up. So while I was thinking about that, I actually, a guy called Rick, who was starting up, or he had a start-up digital marketing agency, reached out to me and was looking for a graphic designer to be an intern while I was finishing off uni, to sort of take over some design jobs, learn web design. And I thought that'd be great because it means I'm getting all the design jobs and I can learn web, which is something I never really learned in college or uni, and something that I wanted to get into. So I started working with them. There was just 3 of them, the 3 founders, and yeah, it just went really, really well. Learned so much working with them. And then in January, we had a conversation about splitting the company up essentially into different areas, because sort of rather than classing this agency as a, you know, we do so many different
multidisciplinary,
we do so many different services, we offer this and this. We just felt, you know, SEO, have an SEO company where you can target those clients, and have a design company that can target those clients. And after about 6 months of working with them, they basically just said, go do it, you know, go start up a design company and we'll back you essentially. So
that's massive, you know.
Which is, I mean, it's super, super lucky to, I guess, have their trust in that, and
you make your own luck. You make your own luck.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I always actually sort of struggle with when I talk to people.
Tell him, Nieve. You tell him.
Do you know? It's just, I never know. Often I will say, oh, you know, I'm very lucky to have, you know, figured out that I wanted to do graphic design early, or I'm very lucky to be where I am, and I'm very lucky to do this. But then I'll sort of check myself and I'm like, no, you've actually worked for that. Like you worked hard, you know, especially over COVID. You asked my mum and dad, I was literally like this 24 hours of the day, constantly making posters, making this, making that, you know. So I literally didn't look up from my laptop just because I was so determined to just, I guess, develop my skill and get better and better. And
so I was
suppose
right. So where's WOB Agency now? What does it look like?
WOB Agency is, she's doing well. Yeah, she's basically, I think we're at the point now where I'm getting a lot more clients. I'm getting clients from overseas. I've got a lot of clients from the US and India, Kuwait. You know, there's people from all over, which I thought was never something that would happen. But I guess with the help of my Instagram and website and things, I've managed to reach out to those people. So I guess when I started, I didn't have a lot of, it was just sort of taking whatever I could, whereas now I'm at the point where I can really choose who I work with and, you know, really pick the people that resonate with me, not just people who necessarily want to work with me, but also people that I, you know, can see myself working with and just building their brand up and something that I'd be really, really proud of. And, you know, if I love their business model and the kind of brand that they are, then, you know, it's nice to be able to, you know, choose them to work with, which is really nice. But I guess I'm at the point where I'm getting a lot of inquiries, and obviously it's just me. It's just me at the moment. So yeah, it's really great. But as it's just me at the moment, it's a lot.
Aren't you lucky?
It's
Aren't you lucky?
a lot to deal with. So
lucky.
looking to get an intern this year, which is
Brilliant.
very
Amazing.
exciting. Although I don't know what I'm going to be like as a boss or some sort of
You'll find
mentor.
out
I have
soon
no
enough, won't
idea.
you?
Yeah, I'd just be like, oh, do whatever you want. I don't mind. I don't care. But no, that's really exciting. I'm very much looking forward to that. And I also quite like the idea of giving someone else the opportunity that, you know, Rick, Sam and Jacob gave me at the time, you know, because I was third year fresh out of uni, and it was a great opportunity for me to you know, be in this position now to have WOB agency, you know. So I'd like to give someone else that opportunity to get their foot in the door and
Have their backing.
have their creative freedom and not just be getting all the, you know, little tasks here and there.
Yeah.
I want to bring someone in to really be a part of WOB agency and build up the team, which is
Like,
super
what an amazing
exciting.
opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Somebody should be looking at that going, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at your account, and I went deep. Most design agencies don't really show themselves, they show their work really. But looking at you, there's quite a lot of you in there, which I absolutely love, especially with your reels and just the way you show up in general. Showing yourself at the forefront of your agency, why?
So I follow a lot of designers on Instagram and found the same thing, was that you sort of never really got the personality behind the brand, and you never really saw who it was or got the vibe for that person. But there was one account that I've followed for a very long time. She's called Abby Connick, brilliant designer. She really made something for herself, you know, started in lockdown, and her thing was she was getting herself on stories, getting herself, you know, videos, reels, and you just really got a sense for who she was, and therefore all of the work she was putting out, it's like, that makes sense, that's so who you are, you know, and I love that. And so I definitely, you know, give huge credit to her for just, I guess, inspiring me to be like, actually, I'm going to do that. But I mean, I definitely didn't, you know, go into it straight away. I did find it quite nerve-wracking, I suppose. And even now when I'm, you know, talking on my stories or making a reel, I'm looking back at it and going, oh God, that's cringe, you know. But I think, you know, from the response that I've had on Instagram, and also a lot of clients that have inquired where they've actually mentioned that and said, you know, it's really nice to see you, and you know, it's nice to get a sense for who you are and what you're about. You know, it's obviously working and something that people and clients like. So it, you know,
I don't think it's meant to come naturally.
No.
Like, unless you are like an actor or actress.
Yeah.
Like, it's not meant to come naturally. Like, it's meant to be a bit awkward and a bit weird and a bit uncomfortable. Like, exactly like you've described, like you're obviously able to recognise someone else's brand doing well, and you're able to identify why it is you connect with them.
Yeah.
So you just do it for yourself, don't you?
Because it's almost like a first date for the multitudes, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about
Putting
it.
yourself out there, no?
Yeah, you saying it like that. It's meant to
really
be
weird. It
awkward.
is
I'm
weird.
like, I'm just trying to think of awkward situations, and first date. It sounds literally just like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you have to go on that date to meet someone.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Right.
Yeah. Put yourself out there and very much like, be willing to look like a fool a little bit, and
Exactly.
Studio Ninja, Igor.
Here we go.
Yeah, I'm off again. But I just wanted to talk about one more thing, because I think, and I'm not here to criticise one of our sponsors, but I think they're missing a trick.
Ooh, shots fired. Tell us what
So
you
they
think.
It claims to be designed by photographers for photographers, which it is. It is designed by photographers for photographers. So I'm not arguing that. But it's not just for photographers.
That's it. So much
I just
more.
think it's for anybody that's in a service-based industry. This piece of software is invaluable. I've had friends that are MUAs, hairstylists, florists, stylists. You know, you name it. I've had them all reach out, and I've given them sort of guidance and setting them up that have gone on to use Studio Ninja and like, this is invaluable for our business.
Yeah.
So if Studio Ninja are listening and watching this back, might want to think about who you're targeting it to, because actually I think they're missing a trick. I think there's a whole market. There's a whole market out there that, you know, you don't just need to be a photographer or a videographer in the wedding industry. If you are a service-based industry and you've got clients or couples, whoever they may be, and you need to book people in, you need to send them automated emails, invoices, you know, the system and the software is there for anybody to use in whichever business they're operating in.
Yeah, get Studio Ninja.
There you go. So what's the discount code, Igor? You should know it by now because I've told you a few times.
Let me see.
I wonder what it could be.
I'm guessing. I'm joking. It's another idea. It's that simple. So if you go to Studio Ninja, type in that at the checkout, and you'll get 50% off for the whole year, and you'll get the first month free.
You get the first month free, and then another idea gets 50% off their first annual subscription.
There we go.
There you go. Sorted.
Go get it.
A big value that I have within WOB Agency is that I always have sort of prided myself and my work on it being very, I guess, not relaxed, but just super, just down to earth. You know, I can speak to my clients on just a real level, and, you know, it's a collaborative thing. It's not a case of I get a brief, I go away, work on it, and then there's the end result. It's so much more than that. I like to really get involved, and so I think showing my personality and showing that that's what I'm about, and that, you know, when you're talking to me, it's not going to be this really stuffy corporate, you know, sit down meeting. It's a chat. It's a, you know, I'm basically there to put your ideas into reality and also give you some of my own ideas. So it shouldn't be this really, you know.
I think that word that you use mid-sentence there, like collaborative, is something that just keeps coming up whenever you filled out like the questions that we asked you. When I see it on your Instagram, it seems like that's a really kind of at the absolute core word of what you are about. And I suppose I'm just intrigued to get your insights into this kind of this constant battle that designers have with maybe clients that say, no, this is what we want. And I suppose it can go the other way. I suppose you can get designers that maybe try and put their footprint on a brand that maybe haven't listened to what the brand want. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's that constant kind of seesaw push and pull, isn't there, of collaboration. Like both parties are in it together and they need to work together. How does collaboration work for you? How do you see collaboration in your industry? And not just as you from sort of designer to business, but also like peer to peer. That seems to be something that you kind of
I think with me, it's always just, I'm very familiar with the fact that a lot of people who are starting, you know, a lot of people who I work with, they're starting their own business, or they've got a business that's, you know, early off the ground, and, you know, they're just sort of in those early phases. And it's clear that it's a case of they know what they want, and they've got an idea of what they want, but also they have no idea.
I was just going to say, do they?
Yeah, exactly. They don't know what they want, but they're also perfectionists in that whatever they do have, it has to be bang on. So, excuse me. So you do have
we don't allow coughing on this podcast.
Sorry.
It's fine. You're allowed to cough.
You
it's
are
okay.
allowed to.
So do you know, it's just after COVID, I feel like anyone going around coughing or sneezing, I'm like,
that's
so
it.
sorry, I'm so sorry.
We've
I feel
got
like I'm getting
two,
judged.
not together, but we've got two separate kids. I've got more kids. It's
Just to
weird.
clarify.
So yeah, we have had all the germs. Don't worry about that. Long awkward silence.
Yeah, sorry.
Where were we?
So
we've got taken off track.
Collaboration.
Yes.
So I think what works really well for me in my practice is I've got a system now, and I think a lot of designers do this creative direction phase, and the idea of you really break down, okay, what is it you like from all these other brand examples that you've shown me, or what is it that's clicking for you, and just getting on that same level, getting on the same page. And I find that, you know, especially over time, that chunk of the project, that phase, has just developed so much, and it's now at a point where there's so much that goes into that, and that's probably what takes up the most time actually in my projects, is just really delving into that direction, the breaking down of the direction. You know, essentially you'll get to a point where I'm showing my clients a breakdown of basically, here's what I'm going to design, but they just haven't seen the final result yet, or the final design. And I think that just really helps, not just me as a designer, but it helps them figure out, okay, that's what when she's off designing, that's what she's doing. She's looking at, you know, this aspect, and she's taking inspiration from this piece, and she's working, you know, it's a guide for them to help them understand, I suppose, how I work and what I'm doing, especially for the people who maybe aren't creatives and aren't familiar with any sort of creative process.
How does that process start? That self kind of reflection, or that analysis that you do into a business. Like, how does that process look?
So it usually is, having a good chat with any client, chatting about the business, what their values are. It would be then, really breaking down those phases, the strategy, I guess, behind the brand, the core values, messages, goals, audience, competition, really looking into that side of things, and then moving on to, based on that, taking into account their, because a lot of the time people will come to me and it's like, we want to achieve something like this, or we've got these in mind, but sometimes they don't necessarily match up with who they're trying to target.
Exactly like this, exactly. When your brand is completely
it's
different.
Not that, yeah, exactly. So then it's just a case of me essentially breaking down those things that they've given me and saying, okay, you like this because of this element of it is going to work really well, but this is why that essentially is not going to work for your brand, but this will. And then just, it's like it's just guiding them along the process, especially, that I've worked with people who are creatives themselves, so are very on the ball with it. They're just
kind of client.
The best.
No, I'd say it's the best.
No, I think it is. I think so. I think it's just and you can always get creatives that know what they want, and you get a good creative, I suppose, goes, no, I trust you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think trust is the big thing. Like we said with Jess, who comes to our photos. Jess is like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Jess, we just trust you. You take your photos, Jess.
Yeah.
Like we trust you."
Tell us what to do and whatever else, and if you want something from us, tell us as well. So But I was going to ask, really, what would you consider sort of like a dream client, or has there ever been a sort of like a dream client, or even if you're dreaming up there, what would that look like?
I suppose in terms of what business or what brand they have, I don't really have a specific. I love working with all different kinds of brands, but I guess dream client, I guess I'm working with a couple of them now, really, just the kind of people who, it's that whole trust thing, they trust me, it's not a rushed process. They're very understanding of, okay, it's not gonna, yes, there's a time frame on this, there's a guideline, but it's not a case of rushing it until to hit that deadline. It's got to be right. We take the time to get it right, essentially. And there's been clients I've worked with who are creatives themselves, and it's very much a case of, rather than me, putting together some designs in a document and sort of laying it out and being like, okay, here's why I've done this, here's why I've done this. They're just like, send screenshots over. Just as you go in, send screenshots over, and working in that way is really refreshing, because they can easily be like, okay, I can see where you're going with this, but I'm not on board with that, or I can see where you're going with this, follow that direction. That's really refreshing, because it's, you really bounce off people like that. But then I guess in the same breath, I think it boils down to the trust. I think, the clients that will say, I trust, here's my ideas, and, I want to work in some of this, but essentially I really want to see what your ideas are as well. And I want to hear what you think and what you can bring to it. And it all goes back to that collaboration of it. If it's a good collaboration where you're really bouncing off each other and you're on the same page.
If there's a client that doesn't have that trust with you, you can now just turn around and go and use Canva.
Go
and use Canva.
I need to start doing that more, I think. But it's definitely getting to the point with the clients and inquiries that I get. I'm really able to turn people away and say, you know what, it's to get a whole brand project done in 3 weeks, it's not like, I can't do that, so whereas when I first started, it was very much I'd take anything I could get just to build up my portfolio. And so it's nice to be able to pick and select who I want to work with now, and who I guess I vibe with and resonate with. So that's nice.
I think it has to do as well with the way you present yourself and your visual language, really, because your visual language is really strong. Like, everyone right now, you should go on Instagram, just check you out, WOB Agency, because literally going through your feed, you can see the strong sense of aesthetic and visual elements within it, really. But
I've lost half an hour just scrolling Bob's feed. Like, yeah,
it's good, isn't it? It's really, really good. It's just a really, really tasteful design. So how do you think artists can very much cultivate a high sense of aesthetics, not just aesthetics, but a high sense of aesthetics and style and taste, really, because you clearly have it?
So that in itself is really interesting, because I never consciously anyway thought, right, this is my style, I'm going to home in on this style. It was never that case. It's just over time, the projects that I've loved working on, and obviously the designs that I've churned out, I guess, have contributed to this style and aesthetic that really comes across to people. Which, and I think that's the important thing of it, is that you can't make your own style. You can't sort of say, right, this is going to be my style, I'm going to really try and have everything fit in this box, because then it becomes forced. I think the fact that just clearly happens so naturally over time for me is probably why it maybe looks so clear as to, everything sort of works, I suppose. But
so would you say then sort of like a compounding of work?
So a big thing that I will always promote for any designer, whether they're just starting out or whether they've been going for years, is doing passion projects. And that's, you're not working with a client, it's literally, you think to yourself, right, I want to do a skincare. You'll break down like a base brand for a skincare company, for example, or a record label or something like that, and you design something that you think is cool and you would buy, right? So doing that often, I suppose, ends up indirectly releasing this style and aesthetic that you like and you like working with and that you're good at. And trying different styles, trying other people's styles. If you see some, packaging design that you think looks really, really cool, obviously don't recreate it and post it, but try that style. Try see if you can, take inspiration from that and create something based off that. And that's, one way of figuring out, actually, no, I don't like that. I don't like working with that, or I really do. And it's also a really good way of how I guess, developed my skills in doing that, and being able to work with different design styles and different aesthetics. Because I like to think that I've got, I can do a lot of different, things with it. But it's nice to be able to have, especially from clients inquiring, or potential clients, it's nice to have those comments of people saying, I've come to you, I came across your Instagram, I came across your website, and your designs really spoke to me, or the really, everything is right up my street, or it's, it really resonates with what I'm after. So
your sort of design aesthetic that we see as you, because obviously although you are an agency, like that is your kind of personal brand in a sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much of that just gets transferred to like clients that come on board? Like, do you often get like a misalignment of what they're expecting, like what they've seen with WOB agency, but their brand needs something totally different? Like, how,
I think,
like, how much outside of your kind of core aesthetic do you tend to kind of go, I suppose, is my kind of question.
I mean, I've
if that
always
makes any sense at all. I don't know.
No, it does. I do work with a lot of different clients, in the sense of there have been plenty of clients where I've completed a project and I've been like, I'm not sure if I actually want to post that. I'm not really feeling it myself, but they're really, really happy with it, and it works for the brand, but I think especially on my Instagram, it's what I post is my favorite things, or what I am most proud of. So naturally, I think that's where you start to see an aesthetic of some sort, because it's what I these are the things that I'm loving and I love to do. But because of that, the clients that I get are that then fits into what they want and essentially what their brand is, because of what I'm putting out. So it's sort of sort of feeds itself, really.
We have the same
that makes
parallels
sense.
in our industry, don't we all?
100%. It's a visual, it's a visual industry, isn't it?
People connect with the work that you show, and therefore you have to show the work that you want to shoot. It's the same, I suppose, as for designers. You have to put out that work. You can't fake that.
Yeah. And going back to the whole trust thing as well with clients. I think if someone is very much like, I trust you to, you know, have that creative freedom with it, which, you know, luckily a lot of my clients these days are very much like that. That then obviously allows me to put my own flair into it, because, you know, there's only so much of matching the brief. Yeah, you can tick the boxes to match the brief and, you know, hit the target audience, but outside of that, there's that tiny area where you can go crazy and you can put your own flair on it, and you can really do something interesting and do something that's, you know, maybe not out there. It's your own, put your own spin on it, right? So, and I guess that's why the clients that I get, that's why they come to me, is because they can see that coming across, and that's the kind of flair that they want putting on theirs, right? So yeah, I guess that's it. But I mean, in terms of my own actual branding, that was something that it's, you know, obviously I do branding for clients, and it's such a process, but I didn't do that for myself. I didn't sit myself down and go, right, what's the fundamentals? You know, here's your creative direction.
And it's the hardest thing to do as well.
And really, it's like, why not? Why shouldn't I have done that?
But
That makes sense.
It's nice to see a graphic designer or a branding agency putting out content that is like that. You don't really see it that often, do you? You don't see many design. They're so busy normally doing their own design work. I'm not saying you're not busy. You are busy, but you obviously give time to that marketing for your own business, because it generates leads.
Yeah. If anything, it's actually because I've not, you know, a lot of there was a huge, especially at the start, I had so much time to dedicate to passion projects where I'd be churning out new designs, new packaging designs every week, or, you know, a couple of times a week. And that's what would go on my Instagram. I'd do briefs, and I'd, you know, put up a brief for other creators to be like, okay, if you want to do a passion project, here's an idea. And it was called Club WOB, and people would, you know, use the hashtag Club WOB and join in that. And, you know, that was something really, really fun. But just over time, because I've been working with clients where you're not churning out designs every single week, it's such a process. I've had to show that process more, and, you know, here's what goes on behind it. So naturally over time it has just become more of an informative feed as opposed to just final results all the time, which I like. I like that I can now, you know, whereas before I might have been targeting other creatives and being like, oh, this is how I use this tool, or this is a final design I've done, or here's a brief. Now it's, okay, this is what you need for your business. If you need a rebrand, you need to consider these things. And it's now targeting people I want to work with. So it's sort of worked out for the best, I think, really.
Any mistakes that you see people or clients coming to you doing constantly with their branding or even website?
I think the biggest thing is just trends, I'd say. I think following trends is just it's not the way to go. It's, you know, there's so many trends out there that people jump on the bandwagon with, and yeah, it looks cool, and it's, you know, for that, you know, year maybe that's going to be really fresh and modern, but, you know, when that trend goes and a new one comes in, then you're just going to think, oh, I want a new rebrand. So I think it's when people base a brand on, or like the design a brand just on how it looks, and if it looks cool, they'll have the brand. But it all boils down to the core of the business, and, you know, brand values and target audience and what actually you're trying to convey, because what you think is cool and looks nice is probably giving a completely different message to what you're actually trying to get across. So that's probably the biggest.
It's quite a short-term mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not thinking about the big picture, the long game.
And I think that's when you run into brands that then start to look sort of past the time or old-fashioned quite quickly, and then brands that look the same.
Exactly.
And,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I saw something that stood out, and this kind of ties into that sort of client and designer relationship kind of idea, is that I think it was a marketeer put something out on Instagram just to sort of speak to his audience of fellow marketeers, and that was that just like kind of everyone needs to remember that we only do well if they do well. You know, that kind of idea that in order for, and I think this applies to designers, in order for designers to be busy, like you need your clients to be doing well and doing well from the back of that design. Yeah. And like you've got to advise them on what you think is. Yeah. It's up to them to decide where they take it, but you know.
And obviously you run into those clients that are very no, I want this. So basically, I'm very set on, I want this, this, and this, and you just need to design, because I can't design it, so you need to design it for me, but this is what I want. And, you know, I've had plenty of experience.
I've done a mock-up in Microsoft Word.
Yeah, I've had plenty of experience, you know, working with those kinds of clients, and it's, you know, as much as you might suggest and say, you know, I think you should try this, and they're just quite set in their ways, but then, you know, if it, you do just have to go with it and think, right, there's only so much you can suggest. And, you know, if they're happy with it in the end, then, you know, that's good. And, you know, they're paying you, so it's like, it is what it is. But, you know, perhaps those projects are the ones that I might miss off my Instagram feed.
I think as you become more experienced, I think this is, as a photographer, you soon start to be able to realise who those clients are a lot earlier in the process.
Yeah.
And you can then hopefully divert them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just part of the experience,
yeah,
the learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to get there now, is realising quite early on, even in that inquiry phase or jumping on the phone with someone or in a call, you get a good set. I'm already now getting a good sense of, okay, I can work really well with this person. We're going to bounce off each other well, or it's, right, that's not quite working for me. And, you know, I can see that this being a little bit perhaps troublesome or you know, off down the line somewhere.
Yeah, red flag's a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. Red flags, that's exactly it. Yeah.
That's it. Any sort of like mistakes that you've learned through your career, really?
Yeah, loads. I think just loads. Just going through.
Give us all the juice.
Yeah. I mean, with myself that I've done, it's just obviously because I started less than a year ago. It was very much, you know, I could get the branding down and the design side of things. I was like, yeah, I can do that, but the whole strategy and what makes a business, that was all new to me, and I needed to really delve into all of that. So there was so much research that I needed to do, but those first few projects that I started doing, it was, you know, I guess they did lack, you know, there was so many small mistakes that I'd make in terms of, you know, not looking into certain areas and then later thinking, right, why didn't I look into that when I was doing that brand, you know? And it's stuff that you sort of figure out over time. I actually posted a post about it today, so it's going to be really cringe that I'm going to quote that now, but it's the whole idea that, you know, success and growth and process it doesn't go like this. It's like, you know, you go 10 steps back to go forward, and, you know, you make so many mistakes and imposter syndrome and all of that stuff. You feel all of that, but that's not you going backwards. It's very much, you need to get across those things. You need to fail and you need to make these mistakes so that you go, right, I'm not going to do that next time. So yeah, there's been plenty of mistakes made, but just, each time learn from it.
You said that coming here, like you were a bit like sort of nervous about coming on.
Yeah,
like, you're going to be fine. Like, it'll be great. It's just
first time for everything.
Part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever taken professional photos in small JPEG mode there? Have you ever done that?
No chance.
This is a mistake that Igor did. This is a mistake that Igor did, but hey.
We all make mistakes. It's just, again, it's just part of the learning curve, isn't it?
Yes.
It's how you deal with it and how you move on. You just learn from it. You don't do it again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What sort of like inspires you creatively? Because as a designer, as an artist, I'm sure that you get inspired everywhere, really. But what are the things that make your heart sing?
So I'm like a lot of, I'm sure, like all creatives, really, I don't switch off ever. There's no moment that, you know, I could switch off from a working day, maybe shut my laptop, although I don't, because I'll just switch straight to Netflix usually. But, you switch off from the day and then you stop doing work. But in terms of things I see, or, you know, I could be watching something on, you know, TV, or I go to a food shop and I'm looking at packaging and thinking, oh, that's nice packaging. I'll make a mental note of that for like inspiration for this project that I'm doing. And it's always just ticking over. So I guess there's not really anything that, you know, stands out as necessarily, here's where I get my inspiration, but it's very much just, I'm always looking at everything around me and I guess taking mental pictures, taking mental notes and relating that to my process and sort of, you know, if I'm in the moment, then I'm thinking, oh, okay, I remember that from last time, or I remember that shop front as something that I'm definitely not going to do, you know. So it's all about that, really. And I guess another big thing is the community, the graphic design and creative community on Instagram or any social media, TikTok, any sort of thing like that. There's such an amazing support network, and that sense of, you know, you post something and they're all, you know, all of your friends that you've made from all over the country, or, you know, from over the other side of the world, who you've never met. They're just people that you talk to a lot on these platforms because you do the same practice. They're sharing things and you're sharing their stuff, and they're inspiring you, you're inspiring them. And it's such a nice thing to be a part of, and to be able to have those people to, especially when you're working remotely or working on your own, to have those people to message, or, you know, what's your advice on this, or can you help me out with this, or it's just, I think that's another big area of inspiration that you get, is just that community on Instagram and, you know, TikTok and things like that. It's really, really important.
I guess for me, I forget really, because on my sort of like graphic design days, it was all about Behance. And forget about the fact that
still a thing. Is it still?
I still use it.
Yeah.
I still use it. About.
And just to think that now today, of course, things have changed, and it's all about social media and seeing how you can actually really, really put, even though it's, I just think that because we are photographers, in my mind, Instagram, of course, that's the obvious one, but obviously graphic designers as well. It's the visual element of it. So obviously you can thrive in that aspect, really. But if you're someone literally just coming off uni, or even wanting to go into uni to study graphic design, any sort of like tips that you would give to anyone that wants to just delve into that world, really?
I think just, I always go back to it again. It's such a typical one, but it is the whole practice thing. Just keep working. Don't, you know, if you've got that free time to just design a quick poster, or, you know, do a quick packaging, that, you know, if you see something that you like and you think, oh, I'd quite like to design something like that, do it. Just, you know, when you've got the time, do those passion projects and those briefs. And I can't tell you how much doing, you know, a poster a day over lockdown helped me out with just, not just my like physical skill with working with Illustrator and Photoshop and things like that, but just I realized over the period of time how quickly I could churn out designs in it, because you know, it would start off where I'd be sat at the screen thinking, right, what can I do, or, you know, and it'd just take quite a long process. Whereas the more you do it and the more often you do it, you can get to that final result, or you can get to that solution much quicker than if you leave these huge gaps between doing any design work.
It seems so obvious, doesn't it?
It does, it seems so
like
obvious, but
it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
It's so obvious because it's just obvious.
It's true. Yeah.
It just becomes muscle memory, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And much more instinctive and intuitive, and you know, you've worked like there's, you know, if you're wanting that work, you know, you've got to put that time in, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. And you build up that sort of library of projects you've done, or, you know, typefaces you've worked with and color palettes you've used, where you get to a point where you're working with a client and thinking, okay, there's a palette that I tried then, or there was a font that I used for that project when I was just messing about on the computer that is really good here, or I could see that working. And I guess that's why it speeds up so much, is because you've got this library stored in your head.
Do you learn, and I'm assuming you do, but like you probably learn from the ones that don't work out as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Even if it's 100%. Like, oh, that was a bit shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know that you're not going to carry that through into a client's project 2 years down the line.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. You can really see over time. I mean, if you go all the way back on my social media, if you go all the way back, there are some questionable designs. There really are. There are some designs that
you could go onto like early blog posts from our websites, and you'd find, you know, images that we wouldn't want you to see now. I just think that's part of the course.
Growth.
Isn't it? It's growth.
Growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the beauty of it, and I wish I hadn't done it, to be fair. because most of mine are deleted. Really, you won't be able to find.
No trace.
But I wish I hadn't in some ways. Now I wish I hadn't, just so you can really see this is how crap I was, and this is how good I am today. Sort of thing.
On some hard drives stuck away somewhere.
Yeah, for presentations, yes, I can very much show back to it really. But yeah,
I think that's why I think I haven't gone back and necessarily deleted those and sort of started fresh as WOB agency with its current branding, is because not just for anyone else, but I love going back and just being like, God, that was awful. Like, Jesus, I've really come a long way from that point.
People respect you a lot more because, wow, she's human.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, 100%. And seeing that, it's like we're going back to WOB agency branding, the branding that I did for myself. That started off, the first website I launched, awful. It was awful. And looking back at the time, at the time I was so proud of it. And I was thinking, this is really cool. People are going to look at this and they're going to, whoa, this is pretty cool. And
Show me the money because it's going to come in.
And I look back at that and I'm like, not quite. I don't think that's maybe what people are thinking. But again, it makes me feel happier.
My worry is always like, what if I put stuff out now and then look back on it and think that was terrible? That's always the worry, isn't it? But it is what it is. One post that you put out recently that stopped me in the scroll the other day when I was looking was just like, I think it was just a tile that you said, why I'm putting my prices up for, I think it was for 2023.
Yeah.
And then the next slide you swipe across was just because I'm worth it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. Like, you don't need to justify that all the time. And I think a lot of people do try and justify rate increases, don't they?
Yeah. Especially when it's a self-employed business or it's not a corporate business. You don't get Apple justifying their prices. Oh, it doesn't even need to be Apple because Apple is right there. You don't get, I don't know, whoever the brand is, you don't get them justifying their prices simply because they've put them up.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, it's such a daunting thing, really. And I mean, I say that and I post that on Instagram, but I'm still like, oh God, don't I? But I think, if, for me anyway, it's just, I know how much I've developed and grown. So I think to have people pay the price that they maybe were paying this time last year for a brand system, when now there's so much work that goes into that, and it's my process has expanded so much, and there's so much more area that I cover with it, and so many more services I offer with it, that it doesn't make sense. It just, as simple as that, it doesn't make sense to keep that the same when there's so much more. Even just like I was saying mentally, mentally taxing, physically, the time spent on something. If that increases, then obviously you need to really think about.
And I think even a client, looking at you, if they can't see or understand the benefit of you recognizing that you have value and worth, how can they see your value and worth if you can't see it?
Yeah. Right.
You have to be aware of that and reflect it. And I think that's what stood out for me with that post, was that you were saying, hey, no, what I've done is great and I'm worth it. Like, if you don't see that value, see you later, go somewhere else.
And it does filter out those people who, essentially that you're not going to resonate with, because it's like you said, if they can't see the value in what you're putting across and they don't necessarily think that that's what it's worth, then really I don't want to be working with people who can't see that. So
what happened when you put your prices up? Did people just stop booking you?
It went totally quiet.
You too. I see what's happening here. You get him now. Oh man, but no, that's amazing. And if people want you, they'll book you. That's it. Simple enough. If you weren't a graphic designer today, and I know it's sort of like early days, but if you weren't a graphic designer today, what do you think you would be doing?
Oh God, there's so many things that come to mind. I mean, I'm going to be honest. When I was younger, I wanted to be a professional mustache grower. Honestly, you asked my dad.
How does that even work?
Well, I've thought about this. So what I'd do is I'd grow them myself. I wanted a pink mustache, but I'd grow them myself, pluck them off, plant them, they'd blossom, then I'd sell them.
That was totally viable.
Yeah, I know. I'm selling it, right? That's totally doable. So then when I realised that I couldn't actually grow a mustache, dreams shattered, then obviously I'm thinking, right, I'm going to have to think of something else now. Yeah. I had a huge love for dinosaurs, so I think they probably would have, if I wasn't necessarily creative, I probably would have looked into some sort of paleontology of some sort. But I guess if I'm thinking to that sort of choice at the end of school where it was between music and art, I think it probably would be something in the music industry. I like to sing, and that's probably something that I should do more of. I would like to do more of, but I just haven't. So I think that's probably something that I would maybe look into doing. And yeah, probably.
That's cool. And what does the future look like for WOB?
This year I'm looking to get an intern to help out with some stuff. So very, very excited for that. But essentially just really just building the team. I want a really cool team of WOBs that are, WOBettes, wobblings, whatever we can call them.
Sounds brilliant.
Just a really cool team together. Just, I'd love to incorporate, if anyone I can bring in who's got that real passion for animation and that side of things. That's always something that I've loved and I'd love to get into, but it just doesn't click with me. I can't get myself into that as much as I've tried. I've done projects in uni with animation, but it's just not something that I guess click with. So I'd love to bring someone in who's got that, real flair for it and have that as a really solid part of WOB agency as well. But yeah, I guess just growing and seeing if we can get some really cool clients and, some more work that I'm really proud of. And ideally, I'd love to have a bunch of, packaging that I've designed on shop shelves that I can go in and buy. I'd love that. I'd love to start collecting those sorts of things. So, yeah.
It's a really exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Like, it seems like you've done so much already, but it also seems as though you're incredibly humble about where you are and that you're kind of still at the beginning of the journey.
Yeah,
even though we're looking at
such a small amount of time as well. That's what blows my mind, really.
It's quite scary.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Watch out.
I'm looking forward to the sort of big Nike collab that you're going to do on Oxford Street.
Yeah.
Have you got any other questions? Okay. Just checking because I know you're listening. One thing we do like to ask all of our guests at the end is what kind of, if you could go back to 14-year-old WOB, if you could go back to that 14-year-old WOB, what would your words of advice to her be?
I think don't worry so much about what other people think, and don't worry so much about having huge groups of friends. You don't need loads and loads of friends. You just need some really good ones. Yeah.
Over quantity.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm very lucky to have a very good, supportive, and very close with my family. Really, really close with them.
That's why
That's why I can't get rid of you.
The only one.
Can't get rid of you.
Yeah.
I'm your only one. That's it.
I'm still waiting for you and Zai to get a house up this way.
I mean, that's why you got kids together, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Kids together, yeah.
But yeah, I've always had that close family. But I would say I had some close friends in school, but it would drift, and there was never really. I guess I struggled a bit just to find people that really sort of clicked with me, and there's a lot of people who just I've not stayed in contact with, or they haven't stayed in contact with me, and it's very natural and that happens. Yeah. But I think through that it's actually taught me, I don't need to force these friendships necessarily, or have huge groups of people around me. I just need to find those people that do click with me. And I was very lucky to go on Spare Room and meet a girl just on the off chance of living with her for a year or something, and now she's literally my best friend in the whole world. And like, I literally couldn't think of not ever having her in my life. And it's just, you do come across those people, and
of course you do.
You just have to keep hold of them.
I've got friends people that I still speak to. That
you got friends?
I've got some other friends, but like you look like some people that have friends at school. Yeah. And that's it. They never. Yeah. That's it. They never move outside that circle. And then I'm like, I don't really have many friends from school. Yeah. And I'm like, it's fine then.
Yeah.
I'm all right with it.
That's exactly the same with me.
I met my best friends, when I went and worked in retail at 19, 20. And when we became photographers, it's like you meet people and you connect
along the way.
Yeah. I think that's exactly the same with me. I think I went through.
I was referring to you, by the way.
I know.
I finished school and I was, went to uni, I'm thinking I don't have that group from school that everyone sort of seems to have, and it really doesn't matter. You don't. No. It's so much more valuable, I guess, when you just you meet those people who
when you know you know
exactly. You know. Yeah, that's it.
What's the other Nieve doing these days?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Pretty sure
she is.
I might have her on Facebook. I think I have her on Facebook. Might have to look her up.
I was also really hoping to have, by now, we were talking on the sofa earlier about Hans Zimmer tracks, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that movie that I told you about, there was a track in there, and it was a film with a house on a beach. And I was going to, I hope I remember it. Still can't remember it.
Oh, you can't.
So I'm going to remember it for next week's episode. I'm going to try and remember the film where there's a house on a beach, and you'll all go, "Oh yeah,
yeah." And you think it's by Hans Zimmer?
Pretty sure there's a track. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll know I'll get it.
We're trusting you.
Yeah, that's it. And if Sam doesn't get it, audience, that's your homework.
What am I thinking of? Anyway, Igor.
No. Nieve, it's been absolutely amazing to have you here.
That's flown by.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah. An hour and a bit.
Wow.
So yeah, thank you so much for making the trip and coming here and just sharing your journey, really, which is absolutely incredible. And yeah, we've said it and we'll say it again. To do what you've done in such a short amount of space time, you should be applauding yourself, really, because it is incredible. It is
honestly,
incredible.
Appreciate
what do you think?
it so much.
What are the takeaways for the audience for an immediate recap?
Get a funny
nickname. Put you on the spot.
Get a funny nickname for yourself.
Yeah, that's it. I think that very much trust your gut. I think that thing of kind of like trying the whole thing of maths and actually realizing that quite early on that this is not for me, and just going for it, and very much. And I think it's a very much creative trait that we see with guests coming here, that they know what they want and they go for it. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't know what you want, go for it still. And see what happens and see what actually can be done. Yeah, I think that's a massive thing, really, and you're excellent at it. So, yeah.
Thank you, honestly. It's been such a pleasure. I've loved it.
Enjoyed your first ever podcast?
Yeah, I have. It's been great.
IRL, that's what they say, don't they?
IRL.
IRL.
Oh, my days. You're such a granddad.
On that note. Oh, where do people find you? What do we do?
WOB.agency or WOB.agency on Instagram.
Amazing. Simple, people are going to shout it out and tag you and stuff. And yeah.
That'd be great.
Should we put the heaters on now?
Yes.
That's a very good idea.
Thank you so much, fam.